So here is our friend's code. We are now going to check this on, let us say, the string India. How does this work? Well, the expected answer according to the client is 2. We already checked that. And this code, what does it return? Well, for India, it's supposed to return 2, but does it really return 2? What will happen? Well, firstly, we will check if the 0th letter of India, which is a capital I, is in A-E-I-O-U. Well, it's not. So the first vowel variable will be initialized to 0, the else case. Now, is India a string of length 1? No, it's a very long string. So we will return our 0 plus the number of vowels in the rest of the string. So that is NDIA. Now here we will have to evaluate recursively what happens, but hopefully you can quickly see that the answer here is going to be 2. There are only 2 vowels, I and A, in the rest of the string. So the answer it's going to return hopefully is 0 plus 2. So it's going to return 2 also. So let's just make sure we're understanding this correctly. All we're saying here is capital I India is not a counterexample, but let's confirm this. When we click on code check, we can use this to check our understanding of both the task and the code. And indeed, it tells us that the function works correctly. It returns 2. So this is not a counterexample. What is a counterexample? Every string that you try will work except for one. There's only one string that is a counterexample, and that string is the empty string. For the empty string, what is the client expecting? Go ask the client, but hopefully it won't surprise you that the client is expecting 0. There are no vowels in the empty string. What will this function actually return? Well, it won't return a value. Why? We shall see on Python Tutor. But no matter what you put for return value, as long as you write an integer, code check will confirm that you have succeeded. Because on the empty string, this code will actually crash. Let's check this. If you copy this code onto Python Tutor and execute it, it will crash at this line if you call it with the empty string. Why? Because when we pass s as the empty string and reach this line, in order to initialize first vowel to something, we have to evaluate this expression. And evaluating this expression requires us to calculate s square bracket 0. Remember, the empty string has no legal indices. So this is incorrect. We cannot actually calculate the 0th index of the empty string. And because of this, we get this index error message. I haven't given you a Python Tutor link here. I really want you to write this code out. Get a little bit of practice of writing code rather than just simply looking at the code that I have given you. Type it out and see if you can fix the error. See if you can debug this code. How will you debug it? Well, you would have to handle the empty string as a special case, as a base case. If you like, you can create 2 base cases, one for the empty string and one for strings of length 1. Remember, in general, a recursive function can have more than one base case. It is possible to write this function with only a single base case, namely the empty string base case. So that's another possibility. Regardless of which possibility you do, please remember that the empty string should be handled before looking at the 0th letter of the given string, because the empty string doesn't have a 0th letter. So if you are going to add a second base case, or if you're only going to handle the base case where s is the empty string, please make sure to handle that before line number 8. So you would add it here immediately after the doc string. You would check if S is the empty string. How do you check if S is the empty string? Here are three ways. First, you could simply say if S double equals the empty string in single quotes, or you can use double quotes, but don't put anything inside that. That is one way of checking if S is the empty string. Another way is if len of S double equals 0. The empty string is the only string that has length 0. So that's another way you can check it. A third way is if not S. Why? Because remember, every object can be treated like a Boolean. For strings, the rule is that any non-empty string is treated like true. So if I said if not S, the only way the expression not S will be considered true is if S is the empty string. Every non-empty string is treated like true, so not of that will be considered false. If this seems confusing, me just talking in the air, please replay this video and type it out as I am speaking. I want you to get comfortable with the idea of one programmer speaking to another and you being able to formulate this idea in your mind. If you feel you're not quite ready for this yet, I totally understand. It is early in our course and we can take plenty of time getting comfortable with these ideas. But I want you to have this exposure of one programmer talking to another, conveying ideas, and you being able to capture this in your mind. Try it out in code. Debug this code and then go and debug the earlier code that our friend wrote where we had this error. How would you fix that? Well, think about it.